everybody. Welcome. My name is Nina Maglic, I'm an energy healer, and I help women create happy and joyful life. Today, I'm with an amazing André Hazekamp, who is really an incredible person, who is also a life coach, energy healer, who also writes a book. And today, I'm going to talk with André Hazekamp how to reconnect with your true self. André, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Nina. I'm really happy myself as well. It's a great opportunity to do this interview and to get this out of it. Yeah.
Thank you for being here once again. André, you have such an incredible career path. You were an accountant, and actually you were a manager and team leader. And all of a sudden you realize this is not the right calling for me. The little voice inside of you was telling you this is not what you're supposed to do. Tell us more about that. How did you recognize that little voice inside of your head, your gut feeling that was telling you like you have to do something differently?
Well, that's a really good question, and it really already started when I think, was a child or a teenager for sure. That I felt that there is something, there is a reason why I'm here. And then, what most of us do is we live up to expectations from, the family, the parents, from society. And so I started to study economics, and I ended up with a career in accounting. But to be honest, I enjoyed so much to sit down with clients, the directors and CEOs, etc. But I always used my time to talk with them about today. So where they are with their business today, where they want to go from today to tomorrow. And then when they would ask me about, what about the annual account, I would say, well, that's the past. If you want to know something about it, let's go through it and let's see what what you have questions about. But let's only mark it as a point in the past and then move on to tomorrow. And I really enjoyed those conversations. And usually they were really like opening up to me and sharing their personal stuff as well. So it became much more than that. But obviously, working in accounting, it's a business about writing hours and charging the clients for it. And my team leaders, and they said to me, "It's great what you're doing, Andre, but we want you to write more annual accounts. The actual stuff." So, well, I'm not really to that. So then I changed actually a job role. I went actually to a different company. I went to a corporate company, an American company based with an HQ in London, and I was working for the branch in the Netherlands and in Germany, and it was great fun doing it. Setting up a team, finding a motivated team, motivation in the team itself. But then at some point, I felt like this is not it. And actually, the two of us, my employer, we agreed that my contract was not going to be renewed. So I had some time in 2005. And then I was thinking, what is not going, what is not fulfilling in my life? And that's when I really started to wonder, why did I change a couple of times job roles, companies, etc., houses. I had not been successful in relationships, so I was not really living a fulfilling life. And I felt this question again about, what's the reason why I'm here? So then I took a decision. I'm going to change it. I have to leave no stone unturned until I find out what it is. So that was it became my journey since 2006.
I think everybody can relate to that story, like to that. Most of people can. Actually, it was also similar situation with me. I was changing companies, trying to find more happiness, more joy inside of work, but actually, inside of you, there's a little voice telling you you have to do something differently because, as you said, like it doesn't make me happy. I do my job. I love what I'm doing, but I'm deeply unfulfilled in my calling. And I love how you said, like, you have to turn every stone to find what is wrong, actually. And I think it's really really long path to go, and also it requires dedication. It also requires courage to really look deep down in your soul and find the reason what is wrong with what is happening actually around you.
Yes, yes, and absolutely what you just said, it requires courage and a lot of perseverance. You have to continue, or you have to. I felt deep down, I really wanted it to, because I could see myself ending up in an accounting job, and turning 65 or 67 and then start to enjoy retirement. But I felt deep down, this is not it. This is really not it. And there were some other reasons as well why I wanted to kind of, sort out my life. So back in the 90s, when I was in my 20s, both my parents got sick and they died. And I got married in the meantime, and my wife, she was not well either. She had this mental, challenges in her life. So she had to see psychiatrists, mental hospitalities, and we had so much in the 3 years of that going on, which was not really what you expect when you are in your 20s. So we were facing huge challenges. And at the end, we had to say, okay, this is not a marriage. I was being a therapist. She was my client. And it was sometimes felt like I'm a parent and she's a child. There was a lot of stuff. This is not something for this interview, but there was so much going on. So what I did actually, I closed my heart because I didn't want to get hurt again. And I was, having a great career job, a career in the accounting, fulfilling to a certain level. But at the same time, I thought there's something else going on. There is something related to that period, and I need to find out. And then you have the broader perspective of I have a reason why I'm here. And this is something we can connect with my book as well. Then at a later stage in the interview. But this is really something what I was looking for. What is now my true self? Who is André? And there are people have different opinions about and views on what is a true self. Even scientists don't know really what it is because it's really depending on your own view, and that's entirely okay, entirely good, as long as this is my perspective, as one feels really aligned with him or herself. And they know, like, whatever is happening in my life, I can be grateful for. I can stay positive. I can feel the energy flowing. I can do the things which I let's put it as Nelson Mandela's word, shine your light into this world.
Yeah. And this is we're connecting with the beauty of your soul and shining from inside out.
Indeed, very much, very much. So for me, is the journey I've been on since 2006. It was really like an inward journey. I mean, this is where we have to find the answers anyway, and it is challenging. It is challenging, yes. And basically, you really get to know yourself so much, and there are so many places inside your, let's call it the physical body, where you find what I found, energies which were really fixated. It was really like, okay, it was time to release those energies. And every step I took, it was like feeling more liberated, experiencing freedom in my life. Yeah.
Yes, actually, usually the problem for the life we're living right now lies actually in the deep childhood wounds, and also in the wounds that we just ignored during our lives. And like we did, because it was so painful to deal with that, we just pretend, okay, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to ignore all these moments, and please never come back. And I will pretend that you never existed. But actually, they're still there in our lives, and we can get triggered by so many simple things that can really cause us to go back in that state that we were a couple of years ago, because we didn't want to look at that. Actually, we have to make peace with the past to move on with our lives.
Indeed, very much, very much. So important.
So, André, I just want to ask you, you are all about reconnecting with true self, and we also define what true self means for you and for everybody else. Like it's really unique definition. But if we want to reconnect with our true self, do you have any like secrets how we can do? how we can start implementing those secrets today.
Yes, we can. And it really starts, for me personally, it starts with body language. So when I'm sitting down with a client, and also learn so much from my own personal body language is like 70% of the communication. And then there is the intonation, and there is a small percentage for words. Talking about words, what kind of words are you using? It says so much about you. But if you look at, have a really good head start, you look at your body language. So where do you feel pain? Or where do you feel that something is fixated inside your body? So that's usually, related to like a traumatic experience in your life. Can be anywhere. It can be in the womb, can be at birth, can be like as a child or a teenager. It's usually quite old, and it's good if you pay attention to it, if you know where it is, if you take a moment and look at it, grow awareness about it, and also very important is that you create balance. So if you have something, I'm putting up now my right hand, so if something on the right side is going on, remember that you have a left side as well, and it might be healthy. You create balance. Usually we pay attention to what is painful or where something is not working in our lives. But if you really want to move on, let's create balance first. Remember, there is always somewhere a healthy path. And then when you realize there, like for us, for instance, the right arm is painful, but the left arm is okay. When we create this balance, we start to see more opportunities. And then it's also easier to let go what's on the right hand side, so that's awareness and releasing energy.
So for the people who actually are not about energy, like it's actually that in every bad situation, you always have something positive, like a shift in your focus from negative things to positive things. And all of a sudden you will see more positive things around you. It's not focused on the pain or what is wrong with your life, focusing also on the beauty of your life. It's very, very important to go through the process.
Indeed. And quite often what we do is sometimes we have stories, which we repeat over and over and over again. But actually what we do is reconnect our subconscious mind with those stories. And if those stories are painful and not empowering, we kind of influence our lives every day by those stories. I have had those stories, as think, oh well, why am I still sharing this story? What is so important still in that particular part, and realizing it and thinking, oh, perhaps I can create a shift right there, and that's also creating a different balance, and you will start to feel liberated. Yes. And another thing is
sorry for interrupting. What I also notice when working with my clients, people usually keep that story in their lives because they want to punish other person for some negative event in their lives, and then all of a sudden they don't want to let that go because they're like saying, okay, if I don't let that go, I'm punishing that person. I don't want that. And actually what they do with that is actually punishing themselves for repeating that story over and over again, because the other person doesn't know that story. Like most of the time people don't even care about the story. But this is something that is so important to understand, that then letting go of that story is so beneficial for you that it changes people's lives actually.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And it is exactly what you said. We are used to connect ourselves with the outer world. So we use the outer world as a mirror, and we want to kind of feel assured by the outer world what we feel, what we think is correct. And so we end up in situations where this is happening, So we attract the same thing over and over again. This was something I really wanted to change in my life when I took that decision in 2005. To change what I was attracting at that time, again and again. And take the inward route journey, you really look at yourself and you will find out, I'm carrying it myself, You can actually also ask other people. If you are in doubt, ask other people. You can say, I have this thought, I'm thinking this, I'm feeling this. What do you see? What is your experience? It takes a really big step to do so. I did that in 2006. I conducted it like a survey amongst some family members, friends, and former colleagues, and I was so surprised how they were looking at me. It really gave me a huge boost for my self-image and confidence. And it was really opening up, and I started to understand that when you open up from the inside, so you show yourself, your inside to other people, then you really can connect with each other. If you're not there really, if you're kind of hiding and you are like talking negative about other people, what the world is doing to you, you have difficulty to connect. It's more like this: you create like a war zone. It's difficult. When you start to open up, you feel like, oh well, and it's not possible between. I mean, you can't open up to everyone. It's something you have to feel inside. You can actually trust. So a good friend is wonderful. When you trust a friend, it opens up.
You said one really, really interesting sentence that I always emphasize. The story, like, it's actually what you say to yourself is what you attract. It's very, very interesting because what we say is what, according to a law of attraction, we attract negative experiences. We are having this negative self-talk all over again. We are attracting even more negative experience. And I love what you said, like as well, like there's no 100% truth, because what you see and how you experience one thing is not really the exact how other people experience that. And this is why you said, like, it's good to talk to your friend, to a trusted person, to really find out, is this really so bad that I'm thinking about? It's not. It's 100% it's not. But there's always solution for everything. And I love how you said that you have to talk to the trusted person to find out that there's more beauty in this life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Those are wonderful mirrors, and it's kind of logic as well, the way we think and how we stand in this world. This is something what I learned through NLP. Is like I have this huge filter system in my brain. It's like the way my parents, taught me things for this life and the society, the village I grew up, etc., etc. All the people I was meeting, learning, and you build up this filter system. So you start to look at a certain way. This is the world, and from this perspective, I was in contact with other people, meaning I was not in contact with many other people, and I thought I was, I was really convinced. But then when I started my journey, it was really like opening up. It was like, oh my gosh, what a surprise. There is a totally different world. And I was able to connect really with other people. Really, I've been always a good talker, and I could, establish new connections easily. But now I was getting at a point where I can actually talk from my true self without, like liberated. And it really connect with other people, and other people would be able to connect with me. And I was like, okay, this is me, this is who I am, and these are my healthy boundaries, not toxic boundaries, but healthy boundaries. And they were like, thank you for showing your boundaries. Now we know where you are.
Yes.
And otherwise people would try something like, and I felt like, oh, I feel like attacked, but they were not attacking me, they were just looking for me. But I did not put up my healthy boundaries. So this is something many of us experience in daily life as well, at work or at home. You feel like, can't you see me? No, if you don't express yourself, it's difficult for other people to see you. And this takes a lot of courage to open up and to release yourself from it and to feel more empowered by it. When you notice you can open up, you start to feel really empowered. You start to feel
actually a self-healing process. Actually, you have to go from, it really has to go from inside out. And it's a process that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah,
it's like
indeed.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
André, well, one question about the people who inspired you on this journey, because you probably read so many books, you probably had so many teachers and coaches. What role did they have in your life, and how they helped you in your life?
They've had a big role in my life, and I've tried kind of everything. I was like, okay, I need a coach. I found a coach, and I found a psychologist. I found, name it, energy healing, trauma healing. I tried so many things because when I felt like I need to get something sorted out through this particular person because of his or her knowledge and experience, and it got me a step further. It's really like peeling an onion and getting to know myself. And so, next to meeting people, doing trainings in education, etc., and seminars, I was reading a lot of books as well. And like reading books about people who really inspired me about because of their lifestyle, or books about spirituality to understand, like the bigger picture. And when I read a couple of books which was so inspiring to me that I thought, now I really start to understand this life. It's not just being born and getting educated, getting a job and starting a family and that's it. There is so much more to it because if you really look at it, especially people with partners, you've fallen in love, you created family, children, and there's so much more intangible. You can't really put a name on it, but there is so much which connects you. It's just beautiful. And it's all around us. It's also for people who are teaching children or teenagers, or adults. There is a connection. You feel like you want to learn something, you want to be open for something new, and that's really something. There is this energy exchange which enlighten you, and this is really important. And there is a variety of books I've been reading. I've put a couple of books nearby, so I know the authors. It's like Joseph Jaworski, but it's also Anselin Schutzenberger. And the CEO of psychiatry, she died a couple of years ago. She wrote so many things about the ancestor syndrome, which this is systemic work, family constellation work. What does it mean when you are born on the same date as your fathers, like in my situation, or you get married on the same date as somebody else in a previous generation? It has effects. We don't see it often. We don't often, meaning you don't realize it. It might be a burden. Or when you have a child and the first child died very young, and the name of that particular child gets onto the next child, and the living child will be like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like this burden on me, on my shoulders. So there is so much about it. And lately, I've read a book from a German/Nigerian woman. She found out that her father was a commander during the Second World War, German side, and he did awful stuff. But she was adored. She was his grandchild, being born from a German lady, her mother, and a guy from Nigeria, a man from Nigeria. She had this dark, skin, and her grandfather would not have approved about it, would not have approved it. So this has had so much impact on her life, and it was so intriguing to read about it and inspiring as well because she was doing this healing journey for herself. She was looking for a way to understand herself, and those kinds of books are so inspiring when you read about it and you start to understand what is happening, not just in your personal life, but also the generations before. And that has an impact on your life. So there are so many books about it. Let me see. I think Deepak Chopra wrote about it as well. And I'm looking. Yeah, there is also this book. I love this one as well. I put it up. My Voice Will Go With You. It's from Milton Erickson. So he was having his own physical challenges in his life, but he was able to inspire other people by his voice, by his words. And there is so much in books about it, what you can use to improve your life. It's just
Definitely.
wonderful.
Books are so inspirational, and I really love reading books. And tell me more about the book you're writing. Like you are also an author, and you started writing your first book. So tell us more about your book and what inspired you to write your book.
Yes, actually, it was more than 13, 14 years ago when I thought about the first time about writing a book, because I had so many different life experiences, and some people said, oh, this could be inspiring for other people. but it took some time before I really set myself to it. That it's really time now. I write things down, but now I have more like a bigger picture, and I want to write it from the perspective. I've got a reader here, I've got a calling, or I'm not sure about what the title is going to be, but there is something like there is this red thread in your life. There is a reason, there is this bigger picture, and when you see the things from a bigger picture, you start to understand why a lot of things happen in your life. Like details, processes, events, tragedies, whatever, and you will be able to look like over it. Like when a fisherman throws his hook into the water, it doesn't go with little steps. It's with a huge bow. And this is the way I want to present it as well to the outside world for people. Like it's going to be inspirational. It's also going to be like a template, so people can actually use it in their day-to-day life. And I want to offer them a different way of looking at things to change perception about the world. So many times we get lost in today's world. We go to work, we come back, we go for a shopping supermarket, we sit in front of a television, and that's it. It isn't. Not by any end. There's so much what you can actually get out of it and really shine your light.
I love how you. I love the topic of your book, and I love the inspiration and motivation behind that book. It's really is an awesome thing. I really admire people who really write about their personal life stories and inspire other people to do the similar things and to explore themselves as well. But Andre, if you can give advice to people who are really doing the job they're doing, going to 9 to 5 job and having these career paths, and and deep down inside of themselves, they know there's much bigger thing that they should do. What advice could you give those people to what is the best way to approach and tackle that situation?
I would say take breaks, grow awareness. So we live in a society where we kind of always run from one to the other thing, and we don't experience breaks. And when COVID started, like last year, and one of my nieces with a very young family, she told me that it took her more than 2 weeks to release all the tension from going to work and now being at home. And she experienced that her boy, 3 years old, was starting to eat with friends. And they've tried it before. Come on, you have to eat something. And he didn't. He didn't like it. But the moment both of his parents released the tension from every day running around, going to work, coming back, yada yada, and when they really started to release all the tension, to take a break, basically, to grow awareness, then their little boy started to eat. It has nothing to do with the little boy. It's the combination of the entire thing. It's the system where they are in. And this is the thing what we are really is. It has been going on for a long while that we are like pushed as well, by our employers, by our colleagues, by team leaders, you name it, all in society. You have to do something. You have to be somewhere and whatever. But I always like to say we are human beings in the first place. There is no human doings. We are doing a lot. But if you grow awareness about our being, and for example, the best way to release some stress is really to create breaks. So if you're in an office, you go outside, you walk, you want to see some trees, some green, and you start to let go what your work is about. Because if you bring the work in your mind outside and you want to think about solutions for whatever situation you are in, you're not really taking a break. You are still working mentally, but that's only just mental activity, I would say. It's the most solutions you get when you're not thinking about it. I think most of us have got this experience that you wake up middle of the night and then suddenly you have this brilliant idea. Well, this is intuition. This is what being passed on from the other side, what I love to call it. And let's use those moments. And cherish the moments when you, for example, you have a coffee together with a colleague and you chat about, something else. so change your direction of what you're talking about or what you want to share, and to talk about something else. And at home, when you sit down with your family, create these magic moments when you're sitting down with your family, with your kids, at table, with dinner, talk, ask questions, share stories, not get on the phone, not watch television as quick as possible, but get stories. I loved stories when I was a kid. When we had a television, it just started to to be there. Television. It's something many people don't know, but I'm 54. So my parents started with a black and white television. Like 3 channels, not 60 or 100, only 3 channels. So, but we were so much more, and my mom was really in about it. She was found it really important to do something together to create a family. So doing games, board games, and whatever, instead of watching a television. And there are many possibilities to already change life today, right now, and create something that releases you from tension, that will offer you more space. And if you can actually start to see that you can be really creative in your life. And you don't have to change job like I did. You don't have to do that. I mean, if you really love what you do in your job, and you are significant for other people. I mean, work itself is never about producing like an annual account, or about being working in a factory. I don't know. It's about working together with colleagues, with other people. That changes it, because the building or the machines, they will be there. They will be there when you're gone, or they will be renewed. But the people you're working with, that makes the change. The people you're being with as a family, that makes the change. Your friends. It's all about friendships. This is something the scientists did actually find out, what brings fulfillment to one's life. Good, healthy relationships. That what brings
Andre,
us
I
together.
really love that message. Like, do more things that bring you joy and happiness, and spend
Yeah.
more quality time with people you love and appreciate. I really love that message, and I think everybody can relate to that. And as you said, no, not everybody has to change the career. They can
No.
actually find joy and happiness in the things that they do, just if they switch the focus and more concentrate, as you said at the beginning, more on things that they love and appreciate, not only on the bad things.
Yeah.
I really love that idea. So let's say one closing words, like for the people who really want to connect with you, and who where can they find you?
Well, I'm on all social media platforms, like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. If you type in my name on Google, you will find me straight away. That's
Perfect.
the easiest way. And yeah, they probably can see the name on my website. And then it's easy to send me a message. So that's possible. You also will find my telephone number, so it's easy to connect with me. If you have questions, if they have questions and you want to know something more about the stuff I've been sharing, through this interview, that's really possible. Yeah.
Perfect. Andre, thank you so much for this beautiful interview, such inspiring interview. Thank you so much. And for everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in today. It was such a beautiful time to connect with our true self and find out ways how we can reconnect with our true self. Thank you so much, Andre, once again for being part of this interview and for your beautiful times and wisdom and sharing knowledge with us. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you.
Thank you. So, and everybody else, please keep working on yourself, because the world does need that love and light inside of you. And please promise yourself that you're going to work on your happiness, because your life matters and your happiness matters. I'm sending you so much love and positive energy. Bye. Thank you so much for being here today.